leave it to the writers of Chaos Child and ReZero to give me such a bittersweet and sad conclusion to this week's episode of Vivy. Oh my goodness, that ending hit like a truck. Like, it really... Just seeing how the two sisters, one was singing and then one was trying to navigate the ship to burn up in the atmosphere to be able to not hurt anyone. It was so emotional and sad because it's like history was still slightly the same, but altered to a degree to where it was a little bit more of a happier conclusion, but with a sadness, sprinkled on top. And I really wanted to believe that maybe the sisters could be happy, the sisters could be together, the sisters could have a life, Vivy could have sisters, younger sisters to hang out with. I really wanted to believe that was what was going to happen while watching this episode, but this obviously isn't your normal anime. This isn't, by a typical writer of an anime. It's by two famous writers that are really well known for their darker twists. So, saying the conclusion is to be expected, but it was done in such a way, I was like, oh man, I didn't want that, but at least they had a good conclusion. They got to meet each other, they got to fulfill their mission/purpose, everything about it. It was good. It did definitely kind of shed light on a lot about what's happening with these AI, make you question the main concepts and themes of the story. Overall, the episode, if I had to just really summarize it, it was fantastic. So, getting into the nitty-gritty, this episode really gives us a lot. Number one, it really shows us how AI express their emotion. We saw multiple times throughout this episode how AI tried to showcase how they are feeling. One major showcase, which you've seen already a few times, is where they put their forehead on another AI and they transmit data. Vivy or Diva clarifies hey, this is how AI show emotions to individuals. Since we don't have the same way as humans are, we do this like this, and this is how we communicate how we're feeling. And seeing her do that to the little sister, it hit, and it shows that Vivy is slowly starting to have her own way of showcasing emotions, and the AI were doing it as well. All the other AI we've seen probably do this as well. Then we also have another depiction where you have the sisters, or you have Estella, smile when she sees a bird that, was obviously deceased. And when you see how she starts to smile, normally people looking at that might think it's creepy, because a robot or AI smiling at something like that. But when you look at the communication, the dialogue between them, she smiled because they can't express tears. They can't cry. So the only thing they can do is put on a smile, and obviously it can come off very creepy, but it shows, though, that in their own way they are trying to show emotions. It shows that these AI really are not like just AI. They really are reaching the realm of humanity and being their own entities and life forms that really should be respected. And this goes back into the question I asked in the previous episode. When you look at everything that's been happening in these episodes, it really does look like the AI are just getting a better track record. When we think about the outcome, let's just really think about the outcome of what this episode did, okay? If we're looking past everything else and just getting to the core conclusion of what this episode did, it theoretically made it to where people view the AI in a more human-like way. To AI, sacrifice themselves, or at least from most people's opinion, one AI sacrificed himself, and the truth is known to certain individuals, like for instance the one that led the whole, operation to bring down the floating hotel satellite. He got saved once again by an AI, and that's probably going to really make him think about life at that point, because he didn't just get his life saved by once by an AI, but twice, and this time an AI he's known for years, and just straight up, went against his orders to save his life, and got him off the ship, and then brought down the ship, and didn't cause any fatalities whatsoever. I feel like what this just did was make that group that's anti-AI probably straight up turn to, they're all pro-AI, they care about AI, and this goes back to the message I said in the previous episode review, that if the bear is wanting, or Matsumoto is wanting to make it to where AI don't overthrow humanity, and we have that doomsday conclusion happen, you would probably want the AI to be hated. You would want the AI to be decommissioned and destroyed, not allowed to evolve to this degree. But when we see this, once again, AI is just continuously evolving at a quicker and quicker rate, and it's making it faster, where that doomsday gets closer and closer. And when you see what this is going to cause, obviously there's going to be probably talks of people saying an AI controlling a satellite, this is kind of scary, but at the same time, people are going to look at there was no casualties for human life, and there's probably going to be others that talk about it, which is going to in turn make it to where any pullback or fight back against AIs getting more rights isn't actually going to happen as often in this new timeline because of what just happened. So AIs, once again, are getting more privilege and all that, which leads to the problem that Matsumoto is obviously trying to solve. So I am curious. Like I said, I don't trust the bear. I don't, but I feel like there's just something else that we're really unaware of, and I think we did get a good glimpse at, what might have happened in the future. One of those things was what we saw from Elizabeth, Estella's sister. She obviously takes it, personal about how she feels about humanity, how she feels about her master. She basically stated that everyone else that isn't her master really isn't humanity. That's what she says. And this is a very human-like thing to actually say when you really think about it. Because, humans are tribalistic. We are. At the end of the day, we really are. And in her own way, she created her own tribe. She's like, my master, the one that's human, he's the only human I care about. Everyone else, worthless to me. And that showcases the elements that maybe the AI in the future didn't necessarily wipe out all of humanity, but they just became like a tribe, and maybe there were some humans they cared about, and then some they did not. But even the case, we're getting to see the elements of that taking place, that tribalism forming to where one day the AI will say, hey, you're our enemy, we need to get rid of you. That's what I think is happening here. So, who knows? Maybe the reason why the AI even decided to go against humans was because there was a lot of anger and aggression on both sides, or at least the humans were constantly aggressive to the AI, and the AI had enough of it, and they decided to fight back for the first time, and we saw what happened, at least in the first episode. So, I don't know. There's multiple ways it can go, but that's just my assumption at this point. So, getting into the other stuff, we gotta talk about the whole mission. So, Vivy, she had a really emotional moment to where, she saw someone complete their mission, and that's kind of their entire objective, their purpose, and it really fits well with humans. Everybody, I think, in the world wants to have something. They want a purpose in life. They want to be able to accomplish something. And when you look at the AI, it's more of a simplistic same thing. It's like, oh, your mission is to run a hotel business. That's simple, but at least that's a purpose that they have. And that's the point here, is we get to see that when someone completes their purpose, do they find another purpose, or do they just give up and that's the end of the road for them? See, that was another question I think appeared with this episode, thanks to that little element we got. So yeah, it's a good episode. This is a really good episode of Vivy, and this series never seems to disappoint me. I mean, the art and animation is still incredible. Can we really just take a moment to talk about that eye quality? The eyes look so good in this series. I really feel bad for the drawer, the artist that's doing the eyes, because, even though it's beautiful, I can't imagine how long it takes to draw those individual eye frames. Just think about that. How long that takes to really draw. If you've ever drawn, I'm not a good drawer, but I've tried to draw, and I know it's hard. And when you see that type of level of quality, I can't imagine someone really drawing that, putting that level of detail in it, and so many hours probably spent on that. I really hope that artist got a break and got some rest, because there is definitely a lot of effort put into this episode with the art quality. So many frames and stuff. But overall, I think I enjoyed this episode of Vivy. Can't wait to see where it's going to go, more of it, and see how the story is going to go next, especially when Matsumoto comes back to try to intervene and change up time once again. We'll see where it's going to go, but I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you got this video, please leave a like. And with that, guys, Chibi out.